Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Happy Sunday
It's
shift.
it's Sunday and we're shifting. Make
Yeah.
sure that you like, subscribe, comment down below if you're on YouTube. And I also think that in some of the audio platforms you could also comment. So please do that as well. Tell a friend and tell a friend about Sunday Shift. We are officially back. It is Libra season. Happy birthday to friend of the show, Autumn. We're out here.
Happy birthday. It looks like it's Sandra's birthday tomorrow.
Yep, it is. Yep.
Happy birthday to our friend of GH Sunday Shift, former co-host. Yeah. Um, it is officially fall in most of the
It is.
country. And
But
in California, it is hot as hell. Like
I didn't know what you were gonna say, but how did
I was
tell
trying
actually fits.
I was trying to think of something to adequately describe the heat wave that we're experiencing. It is crazy. I have my fan directly on me. You might see that my hair is kind of blowing a little bit. Um, it's crazy. And it's October. And like, what the heck? Now, normally it gets hot in the Bay Area, August, September, you know, that's expected, but 90s and the hundreds, that's not. So pray for Bay Area folks. No, you mean you can pray for San Francisco, but no, because they're only in the 70s. But everybody else. I saw this news segment where this woman who lives across on the San Francisco Bay, she's like, "Yeah, I have air conditioning, but it's for my dog, and it's
Ma'am,
78 degrees." And I'm like, I can't, I
no.
cannot stand you.
No.
So, because most of Bay Area does not have air conditioning, so it's really these really wealthier folks that are living
Mm-hmm.
in newer homes that have air conditioning
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like, y'all, I don't want to hear from you. But I've been surviving the best that I can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's weather like up where you're at, Tracy?
Yeah, I'm in Milwaukee. I've had some losses in the family. Family's doing good though. I actually last week Sunday, when we usually report, I was at a funeral, and I will say this: it was the most joyful like celebration of life. I was like, wow, like because it's my uncle, and he was one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. Like old school Arkansas player, came up to Milwaukee, like was doing his thing. Um, and so it was just like so joyful, and so much laughter. Like I mean, like there were some tears, but like it was way more laughter and storytelling than tears. So shout out to him, shout out to Uncle Jerry. And so today, and I'm in Milwaukee just for a little bit longer, hanging with my mom and stuff.
Yeah.
It is so sorry to tell you, in the 70s, and in my mom's apartment, I think it might be like 72. I'm so sad to tell you about this. I'm sitting here with a blanket on my lap.
Okay. Also, let's give prayers out to those who live in the East Coast that have been dealing with the
Yeah.
storm and the flooding. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I
That
can't imagine.
climate change is
Real.
coming for us. Yes, for sure, for
Real.
sure,
Very
for
real.
sure, for sure.
Um,
So
entertain,
yeah.
yeah, entertainment wise, um, last episode for season 2 of Rings of Power was last week, and it was amazing. Here's the
Hmm.
thing: there is this weird trend happening now with fantasy sci-fi shows, where particularly Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, where you have some real haters going on to Rotten Tomatoes or
I
whatever
saw an article
online,
about this.
yeah, online platforms, of, real fan bros being mad that there's more ethnicity in the show,
And
or some,
queerness.
or queerness, or in terms of Lord of the Rings, folks being hecka mad that the show isn't following Tolkien 100% to the letter and T. And the funny thing
P.S.
about,
Tolkien was a weirdo.
and P.S., the time period that they're writing about, he did not give a lot of detail about what was going on. So the the showrunners and the authors taking some creative liberty is not crazy, because Tolkien just maybe, like, there's this one character who's really essential to the story right now. Tolkien wrote 2 sentences about the guy. So for them to come up with the backstory and others and filling in details is not shocking, and it's not crazy, but people are taking it too seriously. And so what they do is they talk bad about the show, and in the hopes that, creators will, cancel it or whatever. And it, unfortunately, it worked for Star Wars
Yeah.
Acolyte, but it's not working for Amazon. Amazon's like, I don't care. We're doing 5 seasons of this show and we're spending millions of dollars on it, and
And
we
haters
don't
be
care what,
damned.
haters be damned. And so the haters got to come up into this season, because season 2 is amazing. And even there was an article saying, oh, we may have jumped to the wrong conclusion about season 2, and so shout out to the cast, the writers, and everyone in season 2 of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. If you guys haven't watched it, I highly suggest you do. I mean, folks are fictioning the lead elf and the evil person. I know, if for fans of the series will know what I'm talking about, but everybody else is like, oh my god, they're so cute together, and they should ship and all this other stuff, even though they're technically enemies and they will never ship. But it's so fun, and I love it when I'm in spaces where it's like people of color, black people, right? Because when we talk about Lord of the Rings, we are hilarious. Like, we talk about the elves and their weaves and their hair and their silk presses and how they look fine, how they're like, everyone get up, because we got to get our hair done because we're going to war. And so we talk, like, we are in awe and in love with the elves because their hair is laid. And I love being in
Nice.
conversations like that when it's like really fun and really positive and still really nerdy and geeky. I love that. So we got to
Yeah.
wait another year or two for the next season, but they ended it well and it's super exciting. And so I've had to say goodbye to Rings of Power this week, but I finally started The Good Place last night. I watched the first season and that show's cray. But
You watched the whole first season?
I watched the whole first season one night.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a very easy watch. It's very quick.
Yes.
Yeah,
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 and
yeah.
that was like crazy.
Yeah.
And then they flipped it to a
No,
season
no,
2, and I was like, what?
no
So, yeah,
spoilers. If
no
you gotta watch The
spoilers.
Good Place if you've never watched it. I feel like it's
Yeah.
been out for forever, and I'm like, no spoilers. I won't spoil it.
Yeah, but
Um,
Manny Jacinto.
I love him. That's funny. It's been a lot of Netflix for me. The Circle I finished. Love Is Blind is back. I've been slow walking into the Menendez brothers. I just didn't expect it to be so heavy, so it was like a little. Uh, it's been hard. It's been a hard watch. I'm gonna finish it, but it's just been a tough watch. Acting phenomenal,
Oh, yeah.
phenomenal acting.
Phenomenal.
And have like watched a little bit of their press run and watched them kind of navigate how they're going to talk about it. And then the Menendez brothers have a new trial date and all of that. Ryan Murphy, stop talking. Let everybody else talk. Just cut it out, sir. But yeah, so I've done that. And then there's the rom com series that I'm actually about to start today that has Kristen Bell and I was going to call him Seth, but that's not his name. Adam Brody. You can tell I watch the OC, so I'm going to be
Right.
doing that. Um, and then I wanted to bring something back before we get into GH really quick about like the way audiences talk about stuff. So there's this Variety article that was like that came out, and it says Joker 2, which everybody's been talking about and not liking, tops international box office with 81.1 million. But then somebody quote tweeted this with a Variety article from last year, and it says the Marvels, which was like the three women lead, two women of color, a miss with 110 global opening, lowest ever for Disney MCU offshore and worldwide. So these things actually matter, and the way people are talked about matters. The way the way fans talk about stuff matters. I do wonder about GH and like the way they look at things because we've talked about this a little bit before, but like what is said on Twitter is different than what's said on Instagram, which is what's different
Oh
than
yeah.
what's said on Facebook. So
Yeah.
I do wonder what they're listening to, who they're listening to, how they're listening to it. Um, and I hope that they are smart about the way they're taking feedback. Because for me, I can get mad about a storyline and not like a storyline. But if things are happening and it's exciting, then I'm gonna watch it. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
I hated Liaison. Um, I watched all those years because I felt like the story was going good other in other places. Um, so I do hope they take the feedback of writing just better story. And we will rock with better story regardless to like what other shakeups you do. So anyway,
Yeah. I mean, the way they talk about, especially on GH on Twitter, 100% different than other platforms. I mean, Twitter seems to have a real hate on for Carly and anything
mm-hmm,
that, Laura Wright is in. And it's ridiculous to me. I mean,
mm,
and then also there are some conversations, which I've seen on both platforms, where they're like, the new Lucas. Oh my God, he's too old and blah blah blah. First of all, there's apparently two dudes that look exactly alike, and they show the picture of him, and this dude is 36. I guess he's a hockey player or whatever. And then no, not Lucas. It was
new
the new
Aiden.
new Aiden, right? And
He
so they
does
were
look a
like,
little old.
he looks a little old, but when I saw him acting, then I was just like, oh, he's definitely not 36, and he's definitely, I feel like he could be believable. And somebody else put a thread of all the actors that have played teenagers over the years who are older, and I'm like, this has been done so much in the past. Why are people tripping so hard and acting like
Mm,
this is just like, oh my God, this is the worst thing possible? I'm like, even Elizabeth, like the Becky, she was actually older than what she was when she started the show. And
yeah, she's a lot
so
older, and
yeah.
she not a lot, but I know she was like grown, and Jonathan Jackson was like 16, and
You're
she's
right.
like spoken about that. I will say
Yeah.
I was one of the people who said that Aiden was too old, mostly because I really love Aiden. I didn't
Right.
understand the switch. I didn't say it online because I don't really
Yeah.
talk about the show online. I will talk about when I talk about it online, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think he looks too old. I think part of the reason he looks too old is because he looks like he's a peer of like he actually looks older than Jocelyn now, to be quite honest. He looks like a peer of
Hmm.
like Molly and Dex. And I think it also begs the question for me personally, um, what that means for Jake, what that means for William, or what that means for Cameron, played by William, because he looks older than both of those actors. So I think it was like a jarring change to make, especially because we went from somebody who looked like had such a baby face. Even like there was like those two back to back Aidens who kind of looked alike, but they both looked really young. To this guy who looks older, like he looks like he's deep in the 20s. And so I think that there's a difference between when you have a cast of people who are older who all look around the same age versus like how daunting it was to see this Aiden who looks a whole lot older. But I'm gonna rock with it. We'll see. I like the scene with Elizabeth.
Yeah.
The second time I watched it, the first time I was too distracted by how old he looked. But
But I mean, to be fair, I mean, we also notice that when the characters are mother and son or something and they look too close together, that's a little off-putting. So let's say Jordan and
TJ,
TJ,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
they look like they're the same age, and so that's weird. Elizabeth or Becky Herbst, she just looks young, and unfortunately anyone that's like in the pseudo adult age is gonna look kind of like they're close in age. She's just a young looking person, and shout out to her genes and the Lord for blessing her for looking hecka young, because she
Yeah.
does look hecka young. And so I'm just more willing to suspend my belief, understand what's going on, figure out, okay, they may be doing something, with Aiden now, which will require a more mature actor, and I'm just gonna just deal with it. But everyone that's just like, oh, this is horrible. I'm just
I
like,
am
y'all,
everyone, by
for
the way.
I'm like, okay, yeah. So, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I hear
um,
you. I mean, but it's also because I do think that there's a difference between people who complain to complain, who like to
yes,
complain, and like
yes,
me, who I am, and as we get into Lucky's return, you'll hear more. I'm really invested in LNO too. I've never liked Elizabeth. That's never been my girl.
right,
Um, but I love LNL too. Like
yeah,
it, JJ and Becky's LNL too. And I've always like been invested in Aiden as Lucky's kid. So I was like, okay, Lucky's adult. Like, he
yeah,
doesn't.
he's an adult.
Um, and like for me, like I said, I also am invested in Liz's kids, invested in Cameron, invested in Jake. No way you're bringing Hudson back to play that guy's your older brother.
Yeah,
And so I think that for me,
that's the
and I think
problem.
that like he looks older than Gio. So we've talked about how like Gio looks young, and now you bring in an Aiden. I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna watch the show regardless. I don't get it. I don't understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it. But yeah, he was jarring to me. But again, I don't
Yeah,
tweet about the show, so
ah, yeah.
well, let's hop in. We only have 3 days this week. I'm sure we will talk about some things that happened last week and carried over. But do you have any performers of the week or standout performances besides Lulu's hand? Because that hand was putting in work this week.
Yeah, the hand was, and the wig or weave or whoever is wearing it, whether it's a human or a dummy, I don't know. But for me, it was hard to pick a performance of the week. Nothing really kind of stood out for me, but I do
Mm-hmm.
just want to give shout out to actors. Love seeing Kelly Monaco Sam this week. And I'm sure we'll talk about, Kelly Monaco leaving and how that impacted what I saw. Because
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I felt like the writing was kind of doing almost a correction, an apology tour or whatever. And given some of the comments that were made about her leaving from her and from, gossip or whatever, it really impacted her performance, I thought. So I'm shouting out to her because, man, it's going to be really hard to not see her on screen. Also, who else do I want to shout out? Obviously, always Maura West.
Always.
Always, and she looks great in that pink outfit. That pink outfit, I don't think anybody else could have pulled off because I
Yes,
just
that
think
is
it was
100% right.
because that outfit was crazy, but she pulled it off, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
loved it. What scenes that I love the scenes between Jonathan Jackson and Becky Hertz. Even though I actually really didn't see all of it because something was going on with my DVR. It was recording GM3 instead of the actual show, and so it didn't record the show. And I was actually working from home, so I saw that it wasn't on record. I was like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" So I had to turn my TV on while I was working. Don't tell my boss. But anyway, so I missed the first part of them in the cafe, but I just loved seeing them together again and working together again. So shout out to that. Um, shout out to Mara West and the scene between Ava and Portia when Ava was calling her out. I actually enjoyed that a lot. So yeah, those are the actually scenes that were more memorable to me that I remembered.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they were particularly, oh my God, this was an amazing performance. It was just those are the ones that I remembered as being enjoyable to me. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out to the actors for always entertaining me and just being good,
Yeah.
no matter what's being put in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt the week was pretty, for me, lackluster, but
Yeah.
let's hop into Lucky's return. So we get Lucky touching down in Port Charles. um, looking greasy and dirty. I was
Yeah,
very
everybody.
concerned about how long it took him to shower. Um,
That was another conversation. That was like,
I was not a fan of that. I was like, what's going on here? But obviously, he did his tour of seeing everyone. So he saw Carly, Lulu's hand, obviously, um, Liz. I am glad he's back in Port Charles. I feel like Rick Hurst is the way they need to be doing big returns, which is that people just show up.
right.
I don't care about the rest of it. I know that we're supposed to get Sidwell following them, all of that. I didn't need any of that backstory. Just get back into Port Charles. Walk in, be like, "What's up?" and let's get the story started. And I really wish they would have done that because I feel like Lucky's return flopped harder than Jason's because at least Jason was in Port Charles. Um, yeah, so happy he's home. Um, Loved all of his interactions with people. Um, how are you feeling?
Same. I definitely didn't think any of that stuff back in Middle East was necessary. I
Africa?
think one, or yeah, Africa was necessary. I didn't think any of it because it just didn't seem like. I mean, they said that they were in Africa. It didn't seem like they were in Africa. I don't know why. But yeah, I didn't think it was necessary. I don't think Holly is necessary. I don't think Sidwell is necessary. If they wanted Lucky to have a black friend, he could have came with his black friend. It didn't matter. But just like I didn't get it, and I still don't get it. The fact that they written Laura off as going off to find Lucky, and then just never having a scene with him, never even having a scene of Kevin and Laura in Africa looking for him. It was just like they just left, dropped the baby off somewhere, and was gone. Now I understand why that happened. Ginny Francis going on vacation, that's fine. But still, they could have written it better, and it wasn't better, and it was
Oh yeah, they did just
crazy.
drop Ace off.
They just dropped Ace off and bounced. Like you didn't see
Where
any
is
scene of
that?
them ever. There wasn't even like a phone call where she's out somewhere in the field talking like we're here and we just can't find him, and nothing. It was just they just dropped him off and left. I don't know.
I forgot they just dropped that baby off. That's so trifling.
So that's the problem I'm having. And then like Laura and Kevin are just out there somewhere.
Somewhere
you
in
know,
Africa singing Toto.
right?
I was gonna
Having a
start
good
singing it, but
time.
I don't want to get flagged by YouTube.
So yeah, all of it was unnecessary, and I agree. The story is not Lucky being lost out there. The story is Lucky coming home. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, just having him show up was enough. It would have, I mean, I foresee some really poignant scenes coming pretty soon. We should have had those earlier.
Yep.
Uh,
I do know there's like a People magazine article. So I had posted on Jonathan Jackson's Instagram when he first announced that he was coming back. I was like, oh, that first hug between you and Jeannie Francis is going to be healing. And so People magazine reported that he was coming back, and they like linked the article from or like the Instagram from him. So like I had all of these like Instagram notifications. And so it was people who were like seeing it from the linked article. So I think they're connecting, and we'll see this in the previews. But I think it's Wednesday or no Thursday of the upcoming week that we'll finally see them together. Um, I thought it was weird that he took so long to go see Aiden. I liked the scene with Aiden and Elizabeth. Like I said, I at first I was one of the people I was like really distracted by like who is this man, but when I watched it again, I thought like the people tell me I'm a mama's boy, blah blah blah.
yeah,
I thought that was really sweet, and I think it's like really important to remember that Liz raised them kids.
yeah.
Um, And yeah, give her credit for that because the other side of a deadbeat dad is a really good mom
Right.
for well adjusted kids, and so give her tens for that. And so I appreciated that Aiden did that. I also appreciated kind of the softness of Aiden, which actually is like in line with his character of
Yeah.
like not even being mad or bitter, just being like, I mean, I'll see the guy who wants to see me, but
Yeah.
like I love my mom and I have a good life, kind of thing. I think that's I would have loved to see them talk about how he learned from Jake. Um, but maybe they will talk about that. But it's such a different vibe. I think that Lucky deserves every cold shoulder in the world from Aiden, but I'm glad that we're not watching it play out in the same way that it played out with Jake. And
Yeah.
also not watching it play out in the same way that it played out with Danny, who was just like, my dad's home. Like,
Yeah.
I like that. I think that there were other fans of Sam like me who, I love Danny loving Jason, but it is really tough that the writing had Sam feel so out of touch. Um, while Elizabeth is just like the boy mom who's like, yeah, if you want to be with your dad, be with your dad. Um, I like that writing. I like that story. I like that way of interacting. So I appreciated that. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I also liked the scene between Jason and Lucky where
Mm,
Jason was relating to Lucky coming back home. I thought that
hmm
was really interesting, and I don't necessarily remember Lucky and Jason ever really having like a strong relationship in the past. But I think that's an interesting connection that they have, and I kind of want to explore that a little bit more. Because, yeah, Jason literally just went through what he's gone through, coming back home, having to relate to sons that he hasn't seen for a while. I mean, Lucky's been got off the campus for a long time, but Jason can totally empathize. So I really would like to see that explored more. I thought that was an interesting little note to that.
Yeah. I mean,
Especially as
so
yeah, especially as Jason right now, it seems to be going through a phase of do he's still super loyal to Sunny, but it looks like he's somewhat being convinced by Anna to think about another path. And I
mm,
don't know, wonder what his encounter with Lucky will do along that too. That's really curious for me. But yeah.
yeah, I actually was really, really confused about the Jason and Lucky stuff. So, I mean, Jason and Lucky are attached and connected through Jake. So that has been a bond for them. When you think about Greg Vaughn's Lucky, um, particularly like they've been in shootouts together, and Sam, like her redemption for watching Jake be kidnapped is like with the Liz stuff and saving his life. But I think that what was really confusing is so the last time we had Lucky in town was 2015, and that's when Liz was holding captive um, Jake Doe, aka Jason, who we then found out was Drew. And Lucky came in and rescued Jake and brought him back from Cassadine Island. And very specifically, Liz was telling Carly and Sam, do not confuse Jake because he thinks that Lucky is his dad. And we never got a resolution of understanding. Like, we understood that Drew, Jason, whatever, was in his life and took up that parenting role. We never understood why Jake transitioned out of believing that Lucky was his father and a part of his life. So, Lucky doesn't just owe Aiden, he owes Jake too. And this is like my other like historical piece of it. Lucky left because of what Liz was doing with Jason, aka Drew. So he should be more. I mean, I guess maybe he knows, but like Jason's been gone twice as far as Lucky knows because maybe Aiden told him this is crazy. Like this guy is actually Jason, and then Jason actually came back in town, so he's not Jason. And then we thought Drew was dead, and then he came back. Um, And when they do weird stuff like that, they never follow through with it. So like people like us, like the audience remembers, but they don't give it like the space and the sauce that it needs on canvas. And so that's confusing to me.
Yeah, I'm in this weird space where I'm only remembering Lucky, and his scenes. I don't necessarily relate Greg Vaughn's Lucky to this Lucky.
Mm,
So I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't remember Jake and Jason interacting, or Jason and Lucky interacting very much, but except when, but yeah, so I need to actually really refresh
no, they're
Lucky's
very
full
much
story.
bonded.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
they're
they're
very much
bonded,
bonded.
but I'm just like, I need to refresh my mind, his whole story, and not just Jonathan Jackson's Lucky
Mm.
and Jonathan, and then Steve Burton's son. And like, I
But
need to actually really go back, and because there's some stuff that I just really don't remember and don't associate with them too. And so
yeah,
I still
I see
feel
that.
like, I feel like now it's like it's starting all over again, and now there's a new opportunity to have a different connection between Jason and Lucky, and I'm interested in exploring that. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I also think that they are, I mean, some of the more uh, really powerful scenes have been between the two of them. Like when they thought that Jake was killed by the car accident. One of the things I go back and watch it a lot because the
Oh,
actors. I'm so surprised that nobody got. Maybe Jonathan got an Emmy because I know he'd be getting Emmys, but I don't. Everybody should got awards for that. It was so good, and I remember um, when Jake got hit, everybody's at the hospital, and Jason is there when Lucky finds out that Jake died, quote in quotes. And then they have like a really like beautiful but quiet exchange right before, and this is JJ's Lucky goes in and talks to Liz about it. Like, like I think Lucky puts his hand on like Jason's shoulder, and Jason's like, stunned or whatever. So they've been bonded. There's also when Michael had killed Claudia, and Dante had told in court while Sonny was on trial. Jason went to go get Michael to try to like get him out of the country, and Dante and JJ's Lucky wouldn't let Jason take Michael, and so I remember when Michael got sentenced and was going to prison. Lucky apologized to Carly and was like, "I'm so sorry. I should have, whatever." And she was like, "No, there's a lot of people who owe me apologies, but it ain't you."
yeah.
So,
I believe you that they are bonded. It's just in my mind, I don't
hmm
remember them
hmm
being particularly close, and I
yeah, I think
feel
that's true.
like this this experience might bring them closer to me
Yeah,
in a different way.
yeah.
So yeah, it's not like I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. I
hmm
just, in my mind, I don't remember it, or maybe I just
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, yeah.
clock it.
No, I was just
But
going through for
yeah,
folks who listen who maybe weren't watching at the time or don't remember. I
yeah,
actually really enjoy them together. And I know that they are friends in real life, like Steve and
yeah.
Jonathan are. So I'm sure they would like
I
jump at the
imagine.
chance to get to work together and would love to be able to do that together with each other.
Yeah, because they were
Because
like the first
hold
to
up.
interview him, right?
Hold on. JJ's Lucky when he was a kid stayed like they were close. The box car and all of that was Jason. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I mostly watched that through LNL2 clips. But yeah, they were close when he was younger. I remember when they thought that Lucky was killed in that fire. If you've never seen the scene, go back and watch Laura cuss out cuss out Jason and Sunny. So there's history there. There's history there. I was like trying to think like, oh, was it all Greg Ross? No, there's history.
And to
Yeah.
testify to them being in real life being close, I mean, Jason's or Steve Burton's podcast was the first to have him on. So
hmm
that's a big testament to how close they must be in real life. So, yeah.
Yeah. I know you were watching back then. Were you a fan of LNL too?
I think I was mostly a fan of theirs after the rape,
Hmm.
and and then also when Lucky was finding out about Luke and Laura.
Right. Hmm.
And other than that, I was just like, oh, they're cute, but I wasn't really too big of a fan. But I'm liking the idea of them getting together. And then I definitely wasn't a fan when she was cheating on
Oh
him
well.
with Nicholas. And so I was like, girl, like, yeah, like you owe this man big time. And it's funny, it's like he went off on them and Liz so hard to the point where
Iconic.
to the point where some people felt like he was abusive to her, you know,
I don't know
which
if you can't see, if you're like listening, I roll my eyes very hard.
but they were like saying, you know, how abusive, and and some people are not excited about Lucky being seen as a hero, quote unquote, because they felt that he was so hard on her that he was abusive.
Mm.
And so it's interesting, but yeah, so I was actually against Liz for a long time after that. And then even when Greg Vaughn's Lucky, you know, came really, you know, addicted and was messing with Maxie, I was still Team Lucky. You know, so I was like, I know, you
I
know,
was
Maxie's
not.
playing him for a fool. Maxie's playing him like a super fool, but I was still Team Lucky. So,
I adore Greg Vaughn.
yeah,
He was not my lucky.
right.
And so when the Niz affair first started, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of whatever. And
Mhm.
then I don't know if you remember, but they brought JJ back in the middle of that
Yeah.
storyline.
Yeah.
I remember
I,
the scene because he like knocked on the door and he was like, "You miss me?" or "I haven't seen you in a while" or something like that.
yeah.
And then instantly I was like, "This trifling affair, I can't believe it. How dare you cheat on
How
Lucky?"
dare you cheat on Jonathan Jackson for real? That's it. It was not even about Lucky. It was about
For real.
Jonathan Jackson.
And I actually think that a lot of the audience felt that way. So it's
Yeah.
interesting that they never really redid LNL2 because they got like, you know, when he found out he blew up. I'm
Right.
fine with it. I think those scenes were iconic. I
Yeah.
also think they fit the bill of what happened. Um, and so nobody's gonna make me think those scenes are not iconic. And maybe if I actually liked Elizabeth, I might feel differently. I'm willing to like be okay with that. Like I don't rewatch Jason yelling at Sam. Like I don't rewatch that, so I get it. Um,
Yeah.
but nah, I'm fine with it. But what I was gonna say is I really love the ability to flash back in that way. When he like walked in and saw her and then flashed back to her asking him his name, and he's like, Lucky, and she's like, We'll see. Um, I think for me, what I feel lately on this show is that they tell us stuff, but they're not writing good story. And when you look back at like what LML2 is, like the nostalgia is like, oh, this was a good story. So I'll give you an example. I think about like a couple like Sprina, for example. I don't think Sprina ever really, particularly once Esme showed up, ever really had a good story. What people were shipping was like the potential and like these actors and the chemistry people felt like the actors had, but they never had like a story. I would say the best of them was like probably Greenland and like what happened then because it was like they were in danger and Trina was able to be a heroine and you know like they were in love and Esme wasn't a factor like that was like part of it, but I think other than that it was like when Esme became such a factor in their relationship and you didn't really have them. I One of the things I was saying is that when Trina was on trial, I would have loved for the four of them, which would have been Sprina and then Chaos, to be on an adventure together. They literally have these young adults doing nothing, and that really rubbed off on Sprina. Whereas to like, I felt like when I was going back to rewatch Liz and Lucky, they had things that they were doing like the permanent lock, like wedding in the church, like that
Mm-hmm.
was really big. Or when they got into the snowstorm with the whole Four Musketeers, like that they did stuff. And
Mm.
I feel like the show doesn't allow people to do stuff. And that really is hurting some of the relationships and the development of some of the relationships. I'm all in for LNL 2. I want them back. I want to see it developed. I don't want it to happen overnight. I want it to be like real good storytelling. Um, I want, Lucky to sing to Elizabeth again. um, I melted a little bit when he told her that, he knows her brushstrokes anywhere.
Oh yeah, I was totally like, oh, that's so great.
But that's because I'm a simp.
Yeah.
I love a lover boy over here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my trope. I loves me a down bad lover boy. Her ordering his like food and like knowing what it was, like I'm like, this is the history that only a soap could tell. If you're like a Grey's Anatomy fan, like if you're a Grey's Anatomy fan at all, when Addison met Meredith and Derek's kids, I sobbed. Like it's just like a reward for being a fan for a really long time to be able to like see these things come into fruition. So anyway, loved it, love them. Hope that we get more of them, and it's good.
Jonathan Jackson plays a romantic very well. So
Hmm.
some of y'all, I'm really aging myself, but I don't know if any of y'all watch the show Boy Meets World.
Hmm.
Corey and Topanga had a situation where they're really trying to contemplate their relationship, and Jonathan Jackson guest starred on the show and was the other man in Topanga. Like he was
Yeah.
flirting with Topanga, and he was the artist, and he was hecka cool looking. And he was romantic, and I was just like, "Yeah, Jonathan Jackson should be Topanga's new boyfriend." But it didn't end up working out because Corey and Topanga. But whatever.
Hmm.
Jonathan Jackson is very good at being romantic. And so I am really looking forward to him turning up the romance notch and trying to win back Elizabeth. Because apparently that's what he wants. Because he was
Yeah.
daydreaming about her. And he wants that back. So he's just right now scared because he's been gone for so long and trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
be in Port Charles again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Give me romance. I want to
Right.
be romanced.
Yes.
Like, give it to me. Um,
Yes.
Anything else you want to say about Lucky's return?
Um,
We
I
don't need
thought it was,
Holly.
we definitely don't need Holly. I thought the meeting that he had with Sonny was interesting because he just knocks
Oh
on the door,
yeah.
just like, "Hey, Sonny, sorry to interrupt." Like he's been there all year, so it's just like no big thing. I thought that was
Hmm.
hilarious. But not too surprising because I mean Luke and Sonny had a unique
Yeah.
relationship, and so it's good that Lucky did go and visit him. It's a shame that he visited Sonny before he visited his son, but
His kid was in school.
right.
Tanya.
So
No kidding.
that's right. Sonny did say that. He's like, yeah, he's probably in school right now. I'm like, okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
No,
yeah,
I like that scene too.
yeah,
Again, it's the history. I
the
mean, I know that
history.
they can't use flashbacks everywhere and do flashbacks all the time, but I would have loved a flashback to, like Sunny, maybe
Yeah.
Sunny take Lucky like fishing or something once, or like they've
Um,
just done so much together.
yeah.
I love the like refocusing of this is actually a really important character who has like a lot of relationships. I love
Mm-hmm.
Sunny giving him like advice of a father, considering he's like made up with Michael. I loved their scenes together. I thought it was really, really good. And he softened Sunny, like in Lucky and JJ's Lucky specifically has always softened Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I liked his hug with Carly, that made me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
He went back to calling her cousin. I remember he used to call her that. Um,
mhm.
I did he have a scene with Dante yet?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting too.
Yeah, I'm
They used
looking
to be
forward to that too.
partners.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the first person who discovered that Dante was undercover, or not that maybe Lulu did
right.
first, but he's the first
Yeah,
cop who understood who knew. So
that's gonna be interesting.
we'll see. I want the emotional stuff. I also want a good story, and I don't want the story to be stupid. I don't think that. I think I probably will just get the emotional stuff though, to be honest. So last week we had a Jason and a kiss, which yeek. And this week we had the kind of like them thinking about it. Let me go on record first and say this: Finola looks amazing. And Steve is lucky he got to kiss up on Finola. So I don't want to hear any of that ageist, sexist bullshit. And
Honest,
I still didn't like it.
honestly, when he was just about to kiss her, I felt like Steve Burton looked the same age as Finola.
Yes,
I mean,
Finola
and I
looks
know he's young.
amazing.
I know he's like what 10 years younger or whatever,
I don't
but
even know.
he looks like they could be a contemporary. And
Yes,
even if not, even if they don't play it that way, so what? Y'all in this ages stuff is
I don't
crazy.
like that at
But yeah,
all.
but I did not like the kiss because I felt like it just didn't seem natural. I feel like they're
Hmm.
good friends, but not in a relationship. And then when I saw, then I was really trying to reach and try to find a reason for him to kiss her other than he was feeling romantic about it. Like I felt like they heard the goons in the background and he turns around and he looks and then he kisses her. So I want them to rewrite this story and to say, "Oh, I was just trying to distract you" or something. I don't know, but I need them to do that because him kissing her just because he felt like he needed to kiss her because he had feelings for her. I don't like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was actually on Susie and Tara's podcast last week. That's what I
Yeah, I
did.
listened to it. Yeah, a little bit,
Yeah,
half an hour of it, yeah, or something.
yeah, it's long. They talk longer
Yeah.
than us.
Yeah, they
Love
do.
them though, but they do talk longer than us. Um, and well, maybe not today because we've been talking for a while today. But anyway, I one of the things that I said there was part of what I didn't like, aside from like the Jason Anna of it all. What I didn't like is the way they played Anna. So we have seen Anna be a badass through everything. We have seen Anna be able to take on anything, all of those things. And they kind of made her like inept as a spy and all of the strength that we've ever seen from her to then have her like have to be comforted by Jason. That is more than anything what I'm not into. That's my number one. My number two is I don't even like Robin. That's Robin's mama. So those are like the kind of what I'm not into. And then I'm just not into like the Jason and Anna of it all. But I just made had to make sure that I started by saying Finola looks amazing. Okay? Let's not get onto no bullshit here. Finola looks amazing. Period.
And so for those of, who are listening who are also part of the Rings of Power fandom, this is parallel to a scene in Rings of Power where two
Okay?
characters, like one character kisses another character and everyone's just like, and then it turns out that he kissed her to give her a key to get out of whatever she was involved in. And so also I was hoping when it came to Jason, I was like, he didn't kiss her because he likes her. He kissed her to do something, but we didn't get to see that. So I'm hoping they
Nah, he
rewrite.
like her.
Oh man. But anyway, of course he can like her. I mean, she's hot. But maybe he's like, this is the last kiss. I haven't gotten any for a while. Let me get a kiss in before I get killed.
Right, maybe.
Yeah.
We don't see. I thought it was interesting to have her like flashback on it and kind of like with that weird conversation with Felicia and then with
Right.
Carly apparently knowing that something happened. I said, I guess I'll just sit and wait on it and see what happens. Don't love it, but here
I
we
like
are.
that. I like the fact that Carly, like Jason's all like always being super protective, and people out there who want to see Jason and Carly together, but instead It seems like the writers are not going there, and the fact
Thank
that
God.
the fact that the two of them could talk about whatever relationships they're pursuing, I like that aspect because that means that they're not getting back together. They're still being friends. And so they're judging each other and protecting each other and whatever other romantic entanglements they have, but they're not getting back together. So that's a good
Hot,
thing.
hot take. I would rather see Luck. I'd rather see Jason with Anna than Jason and Carly. Sorry, don't want it. Don't like it.
We all want, at least me, I'm sorry, I'm putting we on this, but I want Carly with Jack John
Brennan. Oh my
Brennan.
God, he's so charming. His
Yes.
scenes with Robert. I love Carly like almost gossiping about like the drug. She's like, "That was me,
I know.
girl.
Folks were like,
Please,
wait, don't brag about that.
Carly.
That was not you.
First of all, Carly, please chill out, okay?" Like, what are you talking about? Just wild behavior.
Right. And Jason's like, what?
And she's like, Brennan only wanted a burger. Carly, please.
No, he don't. He wants you, girl. But
Come
I
on.
bet the burgers are good. I was
You
feeling
know,
wanting a burger when he said that. I was like, I want a burger too. But anyway,
I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry right now. I'm reheating some soup. I can smell it. Anyway, it's on
uh,
low. You know how we do. Uh, this is probably why I'm so loopy. Okay, young adults.
I'm
Geo just
sorry.
playing the violin, and him and Trina like arguing about Ava, and then Jocelyn coming in. It was giving Disney Channel. It was giving the
Definitely Disney Channel.
Tabiana should have had like the little wand where she was making the Mickey. We don't want to see this. Give them something to do besides arguing about people who are older than them. This is the most boring. This in that young adult cast, we haven't seen Jocelyn with her boyfriend. I know that it looks like they might be trying to do some Molly and Dex thing. Molly and Dex, she'll be dead to me. Um, but like, give them something to do. They have great chemistry as like friends. Whatever y'all gonna do, whatever it is, do it. Give them some adventure. I also found it to be really weird, and then I want to hear what you think. To have Trina, so I've always wanted Trina to like move forward. I actually was hoping that when Spencer died, what we would have seen was her being like hyper busy, and then people like being worried that she wouldn't slow down. That's what I was hoping would happen, and then they had her be like, "I ain't doing nothing." But when she said to Ava that she was trying to put Heather, Esme, and Spencer behind her, I found that to be a really weird way to say that. I don't know.
I don't
Anyway, how are you
remember.
feeling about the young adults? How are you feeling about all of it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was fast forward material for me. I
Mm,
just was not feeling. I mean, and you're right, it does seem Disney Channel. And I am a huge fan of Disney Channel. I love seeing
sure,
young people hijinks, but not on that show. So you're right, it's not
but they're not
appropriate
even
for General
hijinks.
Hospital. Yeah, they're not experiencing hijinks either. They're just, yeah. So if it was like true Disney hijinks, maybe that might be entertaining, but I don't think it's appropriate for a soap opera. So I was just like, I'm still like not understanding the purpose of Geo being on the show. Again, I
Mm,
would, to coin Tracy's phrase, that is Kelly Monaco money that we could have had. So, like, I don't understand why he's
mm-hmm.
there. And so maybe
Yeah.
they threw him in there so that Jocelyn and Trina could have something to do, but he's not compelling enough, I don't think. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him. I think he has good chemistry with like the rest of the cast that they have him with. But the problem is, you can't just bring somebody around and take up screen time who not doing nothing else but taking up screen time. What is the story? What is the connection? What are we doing? I think he's charismatic. I think he's cute. I also think he's useless if y'all not gonna do something with him. And I think that we need more people in that age group to fill out. So either fill it out or don't. I also
Give
think
them
that
a real
Aiden looks. I
story.
also think that Aiden looks older than him, but that's me just being petty. Uh, like, Um, yeah, give him a story, and I don't know if the story is gonna be whatever they're doing with Brooklyn, and maybe he's Brook, because like that's the rumor that maybe he's like Brooklyn and Dante's kid or something, some messy. I don't like it, but if they're gonna do it, do it. I actually don't need to see him sitting around playing the violin outside. And not only is he Kelly Monaco's money, but the rights to that Billie Eilish song is Kelly Monaco money. So what are we doing?
Right.
So
Oh,
yeah, I just am not interested in that. And then kind of fast forwarding, I also am not really interested in this Portia story. So I was really frustrated when I saw it because I like Brad. I think I like the actor that plays Brad. I like Brad. Um, and so the idea of like the way Portia was treating him was like really off-putting to me. So
yeah.
initially I thought that her plan was to frame Brad, and I didn't
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
And then when I found out her plan wasn't to frame Brad, I didn't like that either. I was like, so you just did some stupid shit.
I'm thinking maybe eventually it'll be Ava's idea to frame Brad.
That's what I think too.
So yeah, but yeah, her just having the attitude just to have the attitude, I didn't like that. And again, it's all about the writers making Portia unlikable, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind Portia being involved in intrigue, doing whatever she can, doing a cover up. That doesn't bother me. But her just being unlikable to be unlikable, just like
Mm-hmm.
why? I
Yep.
don't get it. So yeah. I actually like Brad too, and I didn't first understand why he was brought back. I'm glad he's brought back, but I didn't understand. I felt like it would have been short lived or mainly only for the Portia story. But now that Lucas is back, there's another potential story with that. But yeah, unfortunately, I would prefer Brad to come back along with Selena Wu versus Lucas, but
Yeah,
bygone.
I I like Brooke. I've always liked Brooke Kerr. I grew up liking
Yeah.
Brooke Kerr. It was actually really interesting. The actor who plays Brad posted up this picture on Twitter, and it was like, so Brooke played a character on Passions, and he was in like she had a love interest on Passions. It was a mess. I don't even want to talk about it, but her love interest on Passions, Brad, the actor who played Brad, was in like something with. So he like posted this thing, like just like connecting that he's like that this connection with him and Portia. It was cute. I liked it. Or him and Brooke. I thought it was cute. I thought their scene. I think that they acted the scene well. I think that my problem with how they write Portia is that, to your point, it's just unlikable. I don't actually mind her being complicated or a villain. That is
Right.
fine. But y'all are writing this story where we're just now hearing Trina had a problem with Heather. Before that, it just felt like Portia was on her own. The rest of her family didn't feel that way. At the same time, you're writing this story that humanizes Heather. And we have seen Portia with like when Ava comes in. First of all, Ava put it together so quickly that it was Portia,
Yeah.
where like anybody could have. And then when Ava was talking to her, like, I would do all these things for my daughter and I would sleep just fine at night. And
Right.
Portia's like, well, we're different. Portia, you woke up, oh boy, during Trina's trial. You would do
Right.
anything for Trina. Don't act like you're better
Exactly.
than her at this point. And then
You're
when she's
not.
trying to save your butt, you're still like, we got to keep Heather locked up. How about you keep your job?
Yeah. I like the
I
look of remorse on Ava's face when she got off the phone with Rick was like, looks like what you want ain't gonna happen.
also, Ava and Rick got some chemistry going.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. What are you thinking about an Ava and Rick ship? I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it either. Those two messy messes. I like it.
Right. I like it too. And they both
Was it
look good.
Rava? Yeah.
Rava. They both look good together too.
Yeah, they
And I
look
like
great
that
together.
I thought liked how he automatically was like, I'm gonna protect your friend. He didn't have to do that.
You know. Who doesn't Ava have chemistry with? Or Rick?
Right.
What a mess. I love him.
They're so good.
They're really good. So like the two of them together, I'm a fan.
Yes.
I'm a fan of it.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
a messy mess. And we're gonna see like Portia and Ava together more, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We got you brought it up, the return of Lucas. I will say I liked his scene with Carly. It was like, well, let's spill some tea. It was very messy.
Yes.
They're clearly trying to build the Spencer family. And I know that there are a lot of people who don't like Carly, or like there are people who don't like Carly and don't think that she should be the matriarch. The reality is that's what they're doing. It's been clear for a long time that they're moving her into this matriarch role. All of the Spencer returns have come through her, right? Like, so it is what it is. I like the character of Carly, so I don't share those concerns. I
Right. Like she could
don't
be the
tell you.
matriarch. I feel like Laura should, but I understand that Laura isn't a Spencer. Carly is. So
Well, and Laura is in and out. So when Laura
yeah.
is there, we should actually give her something likable to do instead of being a bad mayor. Um,
Right.
like,
Going off to
uh,
find her son and not really finding.
um, so like I love Laura, even though they've had her be very annoying to me for the past like 6 months. Um, and she should be like a matriarch on the show. But when it
Yeah.
comes to like the stability of the Spencer family, it makes sense that it's running through Carly. You got like Lucas and Carly. You got who else? Yeah, Lucky. Lucky is coming back as a Spencer. Like it's very clear that they're gonna like redo her and Lulu's relationship, and so I understand this frustration that Carly, because I was like, when is Carly and Lulu close? So it feels like they're just like rectifying mistakes because these people should have been close anyway.
Right.
And so they're just rectifying it. That like now Joss um, and Lucas have been emailing, and Lucas has talked with Michael and Willow, and he's going to be back in Wiley's life. So I'm fine with it as long as it moves forward some story and it's not stale and boring.
Yeah. I'm good with it.
Let's go. Alexis in jail. First of all, I'm tired of it. Um, Second of all, so I like Molly the most of all of these characters, and Molly's getting on my nerve. Both of those things are true.
Yeah.
Um, your mama is not about to put Christina in jail, and
Yeah,
maybe
that
you
whole
don't understand that because your daddy put your mama in jail.
right. The whole idea, like Molly being like, why would you sacrifice yourself for Christina? For what? Sir, ma'am, that's her daughter.
Come
Why
on.
would I mean, like, that's for what? I mean, it was ridiculous. But at the same time, that last comment from Alexis also was hurtful to me. Like, only a
Yeah.
mother would understand. I was like, oh,
Yikes.
ouch. So, I mean, they're definitely giving Molly every reason to hate Alexis right now and to hate Christina, but it's still like, ugh,
It's just also like, look, and maybe this is just toxic me and family. Your family's your family, girl. You could have the distance, but also like what's going on. I don't care about Alexis. Alexis can stay in jail, whatever. Uh,
yes,
like, I don't like
exactly.
Christina, so whatever. But Molly, by God, you're being very unlikable right now to me. To me.
Added
Um,
to the fact that she's flirting with the wrong man, or not flirting with the wrong, or being,
Listen,
but
I
I
get it.
actually,
It's messy. Both of those actors are very charismatic, but I am a fan of Jocelyn first and foremost. Out of that trio, don't do it, or do it. I'm
and
not gonna like it.
and it also looks like TJ might just dump her anyway, because he's having conversations like, I don't like that she's going to work. I mean, sir, you're at work talking about how you don't like her going to work. I'm like,
It's
you
just
just want a reason. You're looking for a reason to break it up, and that's fine with me. Go ahead, because wasn't a fan of y'all together. You deserve to be having lots of hot sex with all these eligible women in GH. So yes, break it
I'm
off.
not here for it. I'm not here for TJ behaving this way. I don't get it. Yeah, I'm not here for it. TJ, get it together. I don't care. Like, I just feel like he's being obnoxious, and I do not understand why they're writing him this way. Um, yeah,
I mean, yeah, his reasoning is just like really like bad, but I do want him to break up. I want them to break up any
hmm
means necessary. So, you ain't got to be an asshole about it. You could just dump her. It's fine. It happens.
right. Well, also we got Carson wanting Carly and Sunny wanting talking about Alexis. It was such an interesting scene to like have me believing that Carson cared about Alexis like that.
Right.
Um, and with Sunny being like, "Well, I'll just turn myself in." I'm like, if he turns himself in, doesn't that get Carly in trouble too?
Right. I have a feeling her response to that is not going to be favorable.
Like,
So
Sunny, what are you doing? Anyway,
she'd be like, "You had me lie for all of this just so you could turn yourself in." I would be
and
pissed.
then get me in trouble for lying too.
Right. Yeah. But you know who's
Whatever.
gonna come to her rescue?
We do know.
Brandon.
We do know because he's so
Yeah.
charming and so cute, and I like their chemistry.
Right.
The other parts of Black Hospital, since we talked about everybody else, apparently Hat Daddy is going on tour with Wynton Marcellus. I said somebody in the writer's room was like jazz musician in Google, and Wynton came up and they said, that's what we'll do.
When Marcellus is cool.
Sure. He has, they said, first they were like, it's going to be 12 dates. And then the Hat Daddy said he was going to be gone for 4 months. So,
3
okay.
dates per month? I don't know. Idiot. Also, obviously, Hat Daddy is way too good for this show. He's won Emmys after Emmys. Let him
hmm
go. And that's fine.
Maybe he'll be on the gates.
Oh, yeah.
I could see that. Um, I think they're gonna have Lucky manage the club.
That'd be a great idea.
I don't know how I feel about it because it feels like it's a Black Hospitals club. So if it's like to boost up Black Hospital with like the presence of this legacy character, I'm cool with it. If it's to erase Black Hospital with the presence of this legacy character, I'm not gonna like it. That's
And
where I
then I
stand.
kind of just see it as a take on Luke, because
Yeah,
Luke was
right.
also like a club owner, and Lucky doing the same thing, or Lucky could bring back the what's the haunted Phantom Falcon, whatever that ship was called,
The Haunted Star.
the haunted star. He could do that, or was it destroyed? I feel like I don't
It
know.
was
Where's
it
the
was
reason?
destroyed by Victor.
Oh, that's right. Okay, whatever. So, but either case, I like the idea of Lucky owning a club again. Or he could jazz up Bobby's.
Managing.
He could
Oh,
jazz up, but then that brings in competition. I don't know.
we'll see. I just know I would love for him not to be a cop. So, that's
Yeah,
where I am with it.
yeah, yeah.
And then the scene with Curtis and Nina. Nina's so crazy. But here's the thing that I found to be interesting. Curtis knows about Drew's whatever with Willow.
And
He
yes,
doesn't know that Nina knows about
that's
Drew's
true.
whatever with
Yeah,
Willow.
right.
That's so messy,
It is.
and I like it. Like, it's
Nina's
so messy.
Nina's funny.
And also, this was the first time I think that we've seen Curtis like even mention Nixon Falls in like a negative way to her, because he was just like, "Girl, are you being
Yeah.
delulu again? Because you was delulu about Nixon Falls."
Right. That's the first time he actually kind of kept it real with her, because I think he was like one of
Yeah,
the people that forgave her immediately when she came back into town. And so,
yeah. We went to
yeah,
the club
so,
in her freakum dress.
and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me be Captain Save a White Woman as usual."
Always,
So,
always. And the last thing I have is Violet getting invited to school. Finn, come get your kid. How long? Everybody's always gonna be supposed to be gone for like 4 months or something like 4 months, but then they gone. What are we doing?
mm,
I'm just like, is this all we got for Chillin to be doing this?
or this, and they're having their own baby. I don't know.
I mean, are they, because they can't get no time alone?
Right? They need to get out of the Quartermain house if they're gonna bound chicka round round.
Mm,
So
anyway,
it's something
oh,
about the whole house knowing that they're trying and them being there just would not make me be in the mood. I don't know.
I'm not a fan. The thing I forgot, I have in my notes. I love how Terry like ran to Elizabeth to tell her about Lucky being back in town. It was very, very best friend behavior. But then it also begged the question for me: what is the timeline of Elizabeth and Terry's friendship? And wouldn't Lucky and Terry know each other?
Yeah. Terry's friendship with Elizabeth was kind of newly written when
Right,
Elizabeth,
right.
yeah, so it's just like, I don't know.
They gotta figure that
Yeah.
out. Well, as we alluded to earlier, obviously Kelly Monaco is leaving. Right before we hopped on to record, she had posted a picture of her and the actress that play Christina, Molly, and Alexis, and said something about. Actually, I can just read it to you. Let me not make up what she said.
Okay.
Um, but she said, "Last scene with the Davis girls." This some emojis that says, "Still doesn't make any sense to me." And it does not make sense to me either. I'm very frustrated by it. I'm really sad by it. I wish that they would reconsider and bring and leave her on. I absolutely love Sante. I think that Kelly and Dom made something out of nothing. But I will not lie and say that my J Sam heart did not feel a way at that scene with the two of them, with her softening towards him, with like the way he smiled at her. It was very much. It gave it. That was the best scene they've had in years. Because I remember even before Steve left, when they were in Crete, their energy was just like very much like, I don't mess with you. And so this scene of them clearly like having some sort of resolution and care for each other and softness towards each other just made it even sadder for me, that she's leaving. And it just like completely um, plays into the fact that there's so much story to tell for her, so much more story to tell for her. And I'm really sad she's going to be gone.
I am too. And I'm somewhat nosy in the sense that I want to know what she has to
Mm-hmm.
say about it all. She put up a post, I think maybe last week or the week before, and then deleted it, but she said something about ever since Billy Miller was let go, her character has been written in a way that she didn't like. And
She didn't
so,
delete that. People Magazine reported that wrong. That's still up.
oh, okay, it's still up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it's making me feel like, okay, she's got more to say about it, that she didn't necessarily agree with how they were writing Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And so that scene that we saw with Jason was like almost felt to me like her apologizing to the fans for how she had
Mm.
been acting. and trying to make up for it. That's how I felt like it was,
Mm,
which made it even more poignant to me.
yeah.
And I was like, oh man, yeah,
Yeah, and for me, I think it's all about perspective and what perspective people are given and how things are written and who else is able to say whatever. And so, really similar to how they do with Portia and like making her sound crazy to say things that make sense. I really feel like they did the same thing with Sam. Like I
right.
can see Sam going either way, but like with Sam's history and how hard she worked to be and fought to be a mother, for her to like have issue um with Jason and his lifestyle and all of that, it it wasn't out of left field. So I don't even necessarily know if I think that she needs to apologize for that. I just think that it was that she didn't have any backup. It was that she was going to Carly asking her Carly to do stuff that she knew Carly wouldn't do. It was her like Dante like not really agreeing with her. It was them having Elizabeth have the exact opposite reaction. So it made it look like Sam was wrong when in my mind there was a world where I understood where Sam was coming from. Um, so that was like frustrating for me. And then I think, I will say it again, I loved what Dom and Kelly did with Sante, but
Yeah.
they sidelined Kelly with that. It was all like I love the family scenes. I love the fact that they were able to blend their family. I think they made something out of nothing that was completely about how much Kelly and Dom seemed to care, like, and enjoy working with each other. It was completely about what care they put into their characters to make sure that the audience saw it. But there was story to tell for Kelly that they did not tell while she was within that relationship. And so part of what she said was like she didn't recognize the character. And that's real. They basically had her just kind of wait for Dante to come home. She wasn't really being a PI. When she wasn't following through. She wasn't in the mix of things. We didn't really have real story for her. And so I understood why she felt away. And with that, I made my grand return to Soap Twitter. So I had been like retweeting as I Stand with Kelly account. You should still follow that if it's on Instagram and Twitter. Um, and people were just like trying to be positive, but there was an account, I'm not even going to say the name, that was going after Kelly. And I really felt frustrated because it would be like people were like, oh, this isn't fair, I'm mad, whatever, whatever. And there were a couple of different accounts that pulled the well, actually, Frank, it doesn't have anything to say. Well, actually, shut up. Let people be mad. Is Frank your dad? Do you work for Frank? Are you employed by ABC? Because if none of those things are happening, if Mickey Mouse ain't signing a check for you, then let people have their feelings. Nobody needs you to come in and correct them. And so, and then it got into like someone saying something about like, well, I don't like the way Kelly got her job. And then when they got called into it, they were like, well, that's not what I was saying. Yes, you were. You were. Don't throw rocks and hide your hand. And so I did comment on somebody's post and almost went back and forth, but then I blocked them because I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this. This is exactly why I left this platform because I like being in conversation with fans where even if we disagree, you and I disagree all the time, but I love to hear what you have to say. I love talking about the show with you because it's a show that we both enjoy. Everything ain't gotta be nasty. Everything ain't gotta be finger pointing. And you certainly don't need to come at actors. And when fans are upset about their favorite character being removed while their favorite actress is clearly being done wrong, nobody needs you to run up in there and be like, well, actually. Because, well, actually, if the mouse ain't signing one of your checks, well, actually, then shut the F up. I don't get it. I really don't. And like I said, I mean, as a Kelly fan, I am very frustrated by the way she is being done. Her 21st anniversary passed last week. she's still at the show. She's still on the show, even if she's been written off. There was no post for her about her anniversary. These are the kind
Yeah,
of things that folks see that are like, okay, this is shady.
it is shady. Yeah.
So mind your business is really the long and short of it.
It's just going to be a sad couple of weeks. And
Hmm.
I'm sad that we have to have this and we could be, fully investing and celebrating the new people coming back, Lucky coming back, all that. And instead, we got to be looking at it all with the lens of Kelly could have still be here.
Hmm.
Why is this new character here? Why is this person here? Kelly could still be here, you know? That's the sad part of it. We could be excited that maybe we have new writers. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. But, I'm just saying it's all tainted. Even the scenes
Hmm.
that Kelly has, they're all tainted with the fact that we know that she's leaving.
Yeah,
And so,
100%. 100%.
so
Well, that's all I have. Do you have any other hot takes?
I feel like I did, but I don't now. So,
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna try to start doing these when I upload them, particularly to YouTube. It's like premieres. So if you
uh-huh.
do it as a premiere, it's not like a live show, but it does feel like people can start it at the same time, and that way
Okay.
we can chat with them. So I'm gonna start looking into doing that. Starting to like look into doing more content. One of the things I want to do is like watch like clips or episodes and comment on them kind of live with folks. So we can't necessarily do that on YouTube, but maybe find another way. So 2025, look out for more content from us. I somebody had DM'd me. I will DM you back about doing some merch. Yeah, we really just want to expand, do more, talk more. Obviously, we're going to also be talking about the gates next year. So thank you for
That's
listening.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to get into previews for next week?
Yes.
All right. Monday. Lucas visits Bobby's grave. Holly encounters Brennan. Robert makes a promise. Lois is unnerved. Chase and Brooklyn are in for a shock. Tuesday. Robert and Holly get reacquainted. Mm. Sam goes to see Alexis. Elizabeth fears for Lucky. Anna cautions Brennan. Mac gives his 2 cents. Wednesday, Laura returns! Explanation point. Anna and Jason clear the air. Carly meets with Brennan. Lucky seeks assistance. Sunny briefs Christina. Thursday, Lucky and Laura have an emotional reunion. Dante is hopeful. Sunny issues orders to Diane. Michael runs interference. Jason is reluctant. Friday, Sunny makes a big decision. Anna questions Carly. Oh, so Anna back being the commissioner? Okay. Brad confides in Cody. It's weird. Martin and Alexis strategize. Ava has an unpleasant run in. That's next week. We shall see what happens. Yeah, we shall see what happens.
All right.
Make, make sure that you like, share, comment, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend about us. And we will see you next week. Bye.